So, my name's Alec. I'm a freshman in college. This is actually my last day of freshman year. And what I'm going to be doing here basically is talking, getting some of my thoughts out, and just trying to, you know, articulate a lot of the things that I'm feeling and I'm going through with my running journey and my journey in life in general. I just kind of want to get on here and maybe rant a little bit, maybe talk your ear off a little bit. But in my normal life, I'm a pretty quiet guy. But I've been inspired a lot by videos like Sam Sulek and all those type of videos where guys are really into something and they just come on here and talk it out, explain kind of their thinking and what they're going through. Their goals and how their fitness journey is going. So to kind of back it up a little bit with running, I've been running for about a year now. Back about last year, or let's even back it up to a year and a half ago, I tore my ACL playing soccer for my high school team. That was a tough time in my life, but it really taught me a lot of perseverance. I'd say I went through a time of, you could call it depression or whatever you want. Definitely a little bit of a sad time in my life, but I came out of it on the other end stronger. My love my whole life was basketball, and the reason I'm looking over here is because I'm just playing Xbox while I'm talking. I'm sorry, but I will definitely keep you up on everything. So my love my whole life was really basketball. I would play like 2 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. I played since I was like 5 years old. I played all the way through travel ball in middle school, the middle school team, the high school team, AAU basketball. I went to places like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, went to Atlantic City a couple times. Pennsylvania was definitely my favorite spot, like Spooky Nook. That was a very fun time, and I love that area for sure. It's so peaceful out there. But to stay more on topic, so I played basketball my whole life, and then when I got to my senior year of high school, I tore my ACL because I decided I wanted to play soccer. So my freshman and sophomore years of high school, I played football. And then I hurt my finger sophomore year. I was actually lifting, I was doing squats, and I fell forward and I crushed my finger, my middle finger over here on my right hand. I crushed my finger, and I think it required either 8 or 11 stitches. I can't remember right now, but that was just on the tip of my finger and the bone was broken. So that really set me off of football. I actually became the kicker because my finger was hurt, and normally I was a receiver and cornerback. But since my finger was hurt, I ended up being a kicker there. Because, I'm sorry, but just to set it back even more, I played soccer from 5th grade to 7th grade, and then 8th grade was COVID. So I played from 5th to 7th grade. So I had some experience playing soccer. I was always a defender because I wasn't the most skilled player, but I could run all day. So I played a lot of soccer, trying to train, and I was also playing basketball over the summer, trying to train. I played a lot of AAU basketball that summer after my junior year, because obviously that's like the most important year of AAU basketball, trying to get recruited by colleges and everything. But long story short, on the very first day of school, we were playing a scrimmage in soccer, and I tried to go around this guy, and what happened is I planted, and I was fully extended, and my knee buckled in, heard the pop, felt it pop, it was pretty brutal, long story short. So at the time I didn't know it was a torn ACL, but of course soon enough I learned, went through the MRIs and everything. told everyone that I was going to come back and play, and you know how that goes. It's not actually going to happen. That's not reality. You got to get surgery. So I went and got my surgery. That was about right before Thanksgiving, because I remember eating Thanksgiving dinner after with my leg in the brace all straightened out. That really set me back. So I went through my whole process of recovery for that ACL. Just a pretty dark time in my life. Sophomore year after my finger injury, that was a rough time as well, to be completely honest. A lot of stuff in my social life was going on there, as well as my physical. Like, I just couldn't play football like I wanted to. It's really a frustrating thing. So I did all my PT. It was not a lot of fun, I'll say that. Also, going through senior year, there was a lot of social stuff going on. But through that, I actually met my best friend now. And what was something really negative with the whole social thing turned into something positive. I was able to go on I was able to have a nice ending through meeting or, reconnecting with a couple of friends that I realized are the friends that I really want to be around and the friends that I really love to be around. And that would be my advice to you, is just find that friend group that you love, even if it's just a couple guys. I'd rather have a couple guys than a ton of guys. Even nowadays, like, I'm a Catholic, and at school here, I'm in a Bible study. Just meeting those guys, just real down-to-earth guys that aren't going to do you wrong or hurt you or stab you in the back. It's just really positive, and it's a big change from what I experienced a lot growing up in high school, just being from a small town. And unfortunately, it was a very, cliquey friend group. So those are the type of things that I was working through. Just people not treating you as they should be. And, it's unfortunate, but that's the type of thing that makes you stronger. And I think, it's developed my running nowadays, where I just learn to be independent, learn to love myself, and just have love for what I'm doing. Trust in the process and everything. So to keep going with that story, what I would hear a lot is that, like, oh, you're coming back from your ACL, the first step is, you got to get on the road, you got to get jogging. After, I forget if it was maybe like 3 months or 4 months, it's important to get out there and get jogging, because that's kind of the first step of, moving in a straight line. Moving in a straight line is important before you get to all the cutting and stuff, because obviously the cutting and changing directions is what's really gonna give you problems with that ACL, just by the nature of it. And so I kind of got back to that running. I tried running on the road for the first time in my life, and of course, like everyone, I kind of hated it. When you're starting off running, you're gonna kind of hate it a little bit, but that's where you just gotta build that trust that it will get better. You will learn to love it, and then you'll be a skinny guy like me, and running will just come naturally to you almost. After my ACL surgery and stuff, I was the team captain of my basketball team still, even though I was injured. So I would go to all the practices and stuff. In that time, I gained a lot of weight. I'll say I probably went from 165 to 175. Nowadays, I'm down at about 150, I think. And I'll get into that in future days, but that's just something I'm trying to work on. Just trying to maybe get that weight up a little bit, but just make sure that I'm fueled with the right amount of carbs, calories, protein, and all that. So yeah, just to get back into that, I was talking about, my journey coming back from that ACL injury. I learned a lot about myself, and most of all, most prevalent to this is I really got into running. I was watching some videos about running. Shout out Ben Parks, great content creator. He does a lot of like shoe reviews and stuff, but he also films himself a lot and talks about running. And through getting into his videos, I kind of got into, he posted a video about his half marathon training plan, and I looked at this. I think I'd been running, maybe a couple times a week at this point, a couple times per week, maybe for about 4 weeks. So I wasn't all that consistent. I was kind of getting into it a little bit, but I kind of dreaded it, so I wasn't really getting anything out of it. And I saw this video training for a half marathon, and I was like, wow, that's something that I could actually do. Like, at this point, I had my basketball career basically taken from me. Like, I was thinking about things like possibly doing a prep year, or I did get a D3 basketball offer to a school up in Boston, but it was a pretty bad school. Like they're horrible at basketball, horrible at academics and all that stuff. So it really wasn't going to be a good option for me. Long story short, after like talking to my mom about it and all that, it just wasn't going to be the move. So I decided I was going to start running. I was going to sign up for this marathon. I think it was around this time of year. It was probably like May, first week of May, just like now. And I saw this half marathon, and it happened to be free, and it was like an hour away from me. So I jumped all over. I'm like, yeah, I'll sign up. I'll take the risk with this. We'll kind of see where it goes. Didn't know much about training for a half marathon or anything like that. And I made a group chat with a few friends, and I was able to really get one friend who was my friend from class. We would always like watch reels and brain rot during class, but I was able to get him to sign up for it. And he's a runner, like he did cross country and stuff. So he was kind of into it. I think he ran a half marathon before when he was a little bit younger, like maybe middle school age even. So I kind of got into it. I got into it with him, and we started going on these runs. I think by the time about June to July kind of time frame, because I actually went on vacation to Yellowstone, and it was maybe June or July. So we went out and we went on our first runs. I was running a little bit, maybe 3 times a week at this point, upping my volume a little bit, getting that mileage up, which is great. That's how you should start. And so going on these runs with him, I was able to, have a conversation, and it just made it a lot more fun. I was a janitor last summer, so I would work my job at the high school. I would work my job for, 9 to 4. I would get out, and we would get out there and run. Maybe every other day, I'd say. So probably 4 times a week. It wasn't a very extreme plan or anything. Now I'm up to 5 times a week, and I'm up to about 40 miles. But to kind of go back a little bit, I was jumping ahead of myself there with my update of where I am now. But just talking to him made it fun, and we kind of built up where we were going. We had our longest run, which was 10 miles, getting ready for that big 13.1. And I remember this race was August 2nd, I believe. And maybe a week or a week and a half before, we went on a 10-mile run. That run kicked our butts, I'll tell you that. We were only training for a month at this time, so like you can imagine, we were not really ready for that up in mileage. His ankle was hurting and everything. Also, this guy that I'm talking about, he's my roommate now. Yeah, he's my roommate now. He lives up in this bunk, but he's home right now because it's finals week here, and I actually finished all my finals today. Knocked out that big econ final. But just to keep going through my story, I couldn't even sleep at all the night before the race. We did taper down a little bit, which I'm thankful for. We got a little bit less intensity the last 4 days, 5 days. We did a little bit less running, and that kind of set us up a little bit better for the race. So I felt good going to the race. Unfortunately, I didn't get any sleep the night before, which as expected, kind of. Obviously, you're going to be nervous, especially for your first half marathon. So I got to the marathon. I didn't really know what to do. There was a lot of run walking, I'll say that. I probably stopped about 7 times. Stopped to walk about 7 times. I remember people passing me and they're like, keep going, keep going. This wasn't a big marathon, but it was a great community for sure. So I'm thankful for all those people in there pushing me to get through. And I did some walking, but at the end of the day, I achieved a 1:42:40 something, I believe. I was very proud of that. I was able to get a good time. I was happy with that time. My goal going into it was to get a sub 1:45. So I was very happy for that for my first half marathon. So after that, I did keep running. Obviously I took a week off or whatever after the half marathon because, that beats you up, man. But I did continue running. I probably kept on a similar plan, I would say. It's hard because I didn't write things down back in this time or keep a good log of them like I do now. But back in that time, I would say I was maybe running 15 to 20 miles a week. I was somewhere around there, and probably about 4 runs a week. So I was kind of keeping going. I got to school at the end of August, and I got really motivated for some reason. I got to school and I had all this energy built up, and I was just in this new place and I didn't really know what to do with all this new energy. So I would go out to the track at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. This the club track at school or whatever. And I would go and I would run 8 miles. And this is another thing that really built up that love of running, because at this time I was well, I did the half marathon, but do I really want to keep running? Do I love it that much that this is something I really want to get into? And I was just listening to my country music and running on this track, which I hate running on the track, but at this time it was just so calming for some reason. It just brought so much joy to me. Just enjoying the hard work of that time, and it got me hooked. I just wanted to keep running. But unfortunately, I live up in New England. You know, I live in Connecticut, so I kept running for a while. I mean, I ran probably all the way through October. Probably that similar mileage split, like 20 miles per week. You know, I wasn't really counting at this time miles per week, or even, you know, I wasn't even worried about how many times I ran per week at this time. But long story short, I kind of kept running until about August, when I was like, you know what? Or my bad, not August. First time here, but until about November, when I was basically thinking, you know, it's cold out here. Like, I'm not running out here. You see me, I'm skinny, man. Like, I'm not running out here. So I decided I would just go and I would make sure I was getting my lifts in. I would keep on that grind and just, you know, keep going with that, making sure I got like an hour walking a day, get my steps in, and kind of stay fit. So that's what I did all winter. Just, you know, going to the gym maybe 5 days a week, getting my lifts in, push-pull legs, and just trying to enjoy my time, enjoy the good weather. So that's what I did, or try to enjoy myself even through that bad weather. So that's basically what I did. I was lifting for a while. Then when it got warm out, I think maybe in April this year, I'm on week 8 of my running, basically. I'm on week 8 of my running this year. So about 2 months ago, which is the beginning of March, actually. So the beginning of March, it was getting a little bit warmer at least. And so I got out there and started running a lot more, you know, fueled by heartbreak and everything. But, you know, that's beside the point. I won't really get into that on here. And I was really getting into it at this point. Like, I decided I want to track down everything that I was doing. I wanted to, you know, be methodical about all this, kind of leave a chart, write it down, be a little bit scientific, even though I hate science, and just track what I'm doing here. Because I had some better ideas about running. I had some ideas that I kind of got into this idea that you want to up the mileage as you go and kind of progress that. So next video, I'll kind of get into my training specifically in this like training block, you'd say, aka where I'm training, for how much I'm training and how much I've been training this year. But long story short, you know, I've been running, I've been upping my mileage, and ever since March, I've just been, you know, nose on the grindstone. I've just been at school, getting all my schoolwork done. And now that it's summertime, I really just wanted to get into this, start having some nice conversations and kind of keep a journal. Because I feel like a lot of times in my life, I kind of want to talk about running, but I feel like the people around me don't understand what I'm saying. So it's kind of irrelevant to even tell them, or I feel like I'm kind of bragging to them in a way, because, you know, the average person isn't going out there and just running 12 miles as training. So I feel like this is a good place to kind of get my thoughts out on everything, keep a journal. And just to wrap it up, I'm gonna do the same half marathon I did last year, and I'm gonna do that August 1st. So I'm super excited for that. I'm gonna come in super trained, super ready, and the goal is sub 130. So this is gonna kind of be a road to sub 130. We're gonna be on my grind, getting this done. Just hitting the road still 5 days a week, as I'll talk about in the next video tomorrow. but today is May 5th. This is the first day of my training. And today for my training, I did 6 miles at 6:20 pace. Today was my tempo day. I've been kind of getting off the track and doing one tempo day and one marathon pace day. So today was my tempo day. Just getting into that. Very hard workout today. I was really hitting the pavement hard. It beat me up. And tomorrow is going to be an easy run, as I'll talk about tomorrow. So thank you for being here. I know this video is maybe almost 30 minutes, and this is going to be the road to sub 130. It's going to be the name of this series. I just decided it's going to be the name of this series. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.